the more challenging it will be. If we hold our sense of reality purely in the five senses, as the vast majority, overwhelming vast majority have up to this point, through this period, it's going to be very, very challenging. But if we go, hold on a second, I'm not Ethel Jones and Charlie Smith. I'm not even David Icke. I'm not David Icke. It's not my name in the greater scheme of things. It's the name for my experience at this time. So if we pull our point of observation of this from I am infinite consciousness and David Icke, Ethel Smith, Charlie Jones is my experience, then coming through this challenging period we're going into will be much easier, because we'll have a totally different perspective on what's happening. We won't be sitting at the computer playing a computer game thinking we are the game. We will realize that we are playing the game. And therefore, it's just an experience in the great eternity of who we are. This completely changes the point from which we observe challenge, and we observe upset, and we observe things happening that we'd rather not happen, if you don't mind. But what I feel, Bill, is we're now seeing the truth vibrations more and more impact upon themselves, on this reality, not in governments and stuff like that yet, because they are, the fact that they're doing what they're doing, they're very much more in a dense, mind-dominated situation. Therefore, they're connected to the old epoch energy still. So they're not getting the truth vibrations. So that level of awareness, the control system as we perceive it, the banking system and the politics and all the rest of it, the military, media ownership, they're going to be trying to push along this more and more and more control in their desperation to hold on to what the power they've had. But at the same time, more and more and more people, we're seeing it. My goodness, we see it all over the world. My goodness me, the speed it's happening. More and more people are opening their minds from that density of a lifetime, and they're connecting with the truth vibrations, this new energetic construct, and they're seeing the world and themselves in a completely different way. And we're now at this point where the two are, if you like, not fighting. I hate the word fighting. I hate the word hate. Come to that. Can you hate the word hate? That's a bit of it, but you know what I mean. But there's a tussle going on between that which is awakening and that which is trying to stay still. And symbolically, it's like someone standing in a river that's getting faster and faster going, I ain't moving, the control system. And eventually you're expending so much energy just to stand still, and the inevitable is going to happen. If the river keeps going faster and faster, then it's going to wash you away eventually. That's the control system going. But if we get on the airbed or the canoe and we go down the white water ride, which is going to be for a few years, then it can be an adventure, because it's just an experience. We are all that is, has been, and ever will be, having an experience. I don't care if you're sweeping the streets or you're sitting here talking like me, or you're driving a bus, or I don't know, running a bank. It's an experience. We're all infinite consciousness, infinite possibility. And if we observe what's happening now and what's coming from this perspective, it's a whole lot easier, a whole lot smoother. But the time as we move through, I think 2012 it's not a total diversion, but I think it is a diversion. It's a diversion in which people are focusing on that year. And when you focus on something like that, the control system can manipulate to pull you in. Maybe they've got some events planned to focus people in. Oh, it's 2012, all that stuff. But it's significant 2012 in the sense that it's not 2011. Because this vibrational change is getting more and more powerful, more and more impacting on human perception, and it will be more impacting in 2011, more impacting in 2012, but more impacting in 2013, more in 2014, and eventually there's a tipping point. And there's a tipping point where irresistible force, control system, thinks it is but isn't. Let's put it another way. Immovable object, control system, thinks it is but isn't. Irresistible force, truth vibrations, which is. And we're seeing this happen. We're seeing it happen now. We're seeing it happen more and more and more. And there's going to come a point, not tomorrow, but not too many years from now either, where that's going to happen. And from that point, the dominating energetic information awareness construct of this reality is going to be the truth vibrations. And that's going to go off through our children and grandchildren's lives. And by the end of their lives, which will be much longer because of the energetic change that they're going to experience compared with this schism, which is one of the reasons that human lives kind of plummeted. I mean, when they talk in the ancient world about people living massively long lives, they used to, they're not kidding, because the energetic situation they were experiencing was different. So when our children and grandchildren get to the end of their lives, you and me are going to be looking in, disembodied, from another level of reality, and we're going to go. Job done. And that's why we're here. So let's get on with it, shall we?
That's a beautiful, beautiful summary. And round about the same time as we're releasing this movie, we're going to be releasing a wonderful ad hoc conversation that you had with Jordan Maxwell.
Jordan, yeah.
And Jordan was presenting a viewpoint that is valid. I think you and I would agree with that there's actually a military operation going on here between so-called good forces and so-called bad forces. And many people are caught in the crossfire, or they're pawns on the chessboard, or whatever metaphor you want to use. And whatever role we might consider ourselves to be is somewhere in that mix. And Jordan, bless him, was focused on that solid reality of this battlefield and saying, you know what, we're all going to get full of bullet holes if we don't watch out, and we're in deep trouble. And I wondered if you could speak to that, because there are some people, many people watching this video, who still think, you know what, we are in trouble because they're really doing this stuff. And I know that you, and therefore we have to be rescued by forces who are as strong as the so-called dark side, who are trying to manipulate us and control us for reasons of their own. You've spoken to this to some degree, quite some degree, in this conversation we've been having now. Could you say a little bit more about this crucial point, about why is it that this tipping point could occur without the entire world of 7 billion people picking up arms and rioting in the streets? Because that's not the answer, is it?
Well, if you think about the energetic construct that we've had through this period, the response to danger, the response to attack, has been given what they're giving you. And we call it war. We call it rioting and all the rest of it. Where has it got us? Nowhere. What you fight, you become. You know, if you think that meeting aggression with more aggression is going to take us forward, if you meet aggression with aggression, what are you going to get? Twice the aggression. Oh, we've moved on now, haven't we? Hey, world's a better place. And this is why when I see things like riots over economies and stuff like that, like we've seen in Greece and other places, and we'll see more, no doubt, it's such a confirmation of ignorance of the way things are. You know, we get pulled into low vibrational states by this feeling that we need to fight, must fight for peace. I love that one. Let's pepper bomb Baghdad and bring peace, shall we? You idiot. You're a politician, aren't you? Yeah, I thought you were, yeah. It brings us into low vibrational states, and it brings us into the very vibrational stadium on which the control system wants us to be. And when you think about it, even on the physical level, they're not bothered about rioting. In fact, it's a good thing from their point of view, because they can then, problem, reaction, solution, justify greater impositions of the control system in terms of violence and SWAT teams and armed police and bringing the military on the streets. You know, thank you very much. You've just given us what we need to justify this. And they're not frightened of protests either. You know, in the run-up to the Iraq war, we had, it was estimated, 1 million people on the streets of London. What happened? They invaded Iraq. let them have their protest. You can protest and you can feel good about yourself. I bloody told them, at least I protested. Let's go down to the pub and have a chat about how good it was. And then what we can do then is we can put the telly on and watch them invade the country we've just protested against them invading, What they're terrified of is not violence, it's not rioting, it's not protests in the street. I'm not saying don't have them, but they're not frightened of them. What they're frightened of is non-cooperation.